cue me because hi, hello everyone. Welcome to the global party night for GENaustin. We're going to take a few more seconds and then we'll get started here pretty quickly. But thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate having you, and we will be underway in a few moments. So we'll just be chatting amongst ourselves until we get all the parties kind of tuned in. So thank you for being here.
Taking like 70 this year, so I feel.
Wow.
What time does y'all's school start and what time does it end?
Mine starts at 9:15, it ends at 4:35. But you know, I stay after school, whatever.
Yeah.
Till 6.
We start 8:15 and then 3:40.
Okay. So yeah, we're like, what about y'all?
I don't know what time it really starts because I have band at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then school ends at 4:15, and then I stay after school most days. So
That is impressive.
How does it feel that band is over? You don't have any more competitions, do you?
no, we don't.
It's just football games now.
Don't y'all have concert band now, right?
Yeah, we got our audition music, and it's like so hard.
Is it two bands, like an honor band and a?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what they're called, but there's just two bands. So you have to audition for one band.
You'll do great.
Yeah.
Person.
Yeah.
You're a trumpeting expert.
Yeah, today we had as soon as marching band ends, the color guard is kind of we just work on other stuff recruitment and winter guard and all that stuff. And so since I'm guard captain, my teacher was like, "Okay, Georgia, you're in charge." He's like, "Make sure you get used to time." I said, "So what do you want to do today?" And I said, "Okay." So our classes are an hour and a half, and I said, "And we have a parade on Tuesday. Y'all are going there?
Yeah,
I'll see you there." So I said, "Oh, I guess we'll go over choreography for about 30 minutes. Last hour, I guess I'll just give it to them for them to just, do homework, take a nap." And he said,
Okay.
"Okay,
Are we
just make
Can you
sure."
speak a little closer?
Yes.
Come on
And
in.
we're going to request that,
I'm not gonna.
well, they don't know that you guys are going live yet, so they're asking you to be louder. So go ahead and get started. Be
Oh.
very loud and project.
All right, we can get
Sorry.
started. Wonderful. All right. Thank you all so much for joining us. My name is Brittany Yalverton, and I'm the Community Relations and Volunteer Manager here at GENaustin, the Girls Empowerment Network. And we want to thank you so much for joining our global party night here at GENaustin. We have several parties and several folks from across Austin, as well as in Kyle, joining us for the event tonight. And we are so excited to hear from some of these amazing high school leaders that we work with. Just a little bit more about their experiences and why scholarships are so important for the We Are Girls Conference. Before I have the girls introduce themselves, I did want to let you know that we have a great way to kind of get engaged in the discussion. We are going to be live tweeting this whole event. So you can follow us on our Twitter handle at GENaustin. And you can actually join the conversation by using the hashtag, sorry to block your face, Kirsten, by using the hashtag GPN GENaustin, that's Global Party Night. So GPN GENaustin. You can follow along with the conversation. You can actually contribute questions, which is going to be great. So please feel free to follow us at GENaustin and tweet at us. Let us know how you're feeling about the whole event tonight and kind of what is going on at your party. We'd love to hear from you. So if we can get started, what I'll do is if you will just tell us your name and what grade you're in, and then we'll get started with some questions and have a really great conversation about girlhood and your experiences in GENaustin. So if we want to start with you.
I'm Kirsten. I'm a freshman.
Hi, I'm Ari and I'm a junior.
Hello, my name's Georgia, and I'm a senior.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, the first question I'd love to throw out to you all, and Kirsten, I know you'll be answering first, is what do you think is the biggest challenge that girls are facing today?
I think the biggest challenge for girls is that we tend to compare ourselves to others a lot, and we see almost everything as a competition against each other.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that as girls we tend to do is we try to be really perfect, and sometimes that can be bad because we tend to pick at our flaws. And instead of looking into what's good about ourselves and what makes us beautiful, we look at oh, this is wrong about me, and this is also wrong about me. And she says, we compare ourselves but she has this and I don't have this. Mm-hmm. And so I think we tend to pick a lot at our flaws, which is really harmful.
Yeah. All right, do you have anything you want to contribute about some of the biggest challenges you think girls are facing today?
This is kind of to go in a little bit of a different direction, but I think one of the things girls struggle with a lot is just sort of not having accurate information about their own bodies, or in many cases not having control over their own bodies, as we've kind of been seeing in some of the recent occurrences in the government and everything, and some of the issues on the news.
Absolutely. And kind of to pair it back to some of the things that you all shared, specifically kind of what you said, Kirsten, and what you said as well, Georgia, this kind of sometimes lack of confidence or lack of self-worth, or this feeling that girls just aren't good enough, and that's such a challenge. Where do you think that comes from, or how does that kind of manifest, or how does that kind of play out with either yourself or girls you know or your peers?
I think it's like mostly the social media. We tend to like, the social media is basically what we live our lives from. I guess it's really sad, but it's kind of true. We kind of just tend to look at social media a lot and compare our lives to what the social media gives us. So it's like, oh, look at, I don't know, Taylor Swift. Look at the new makeup she's using, but you're like 12 and you don't want to wear that makeup, but you know that if you wear it, you'll look pretty. And so I think it's like seeing what the social media kind of wants you to do is what tends to make the girls want to do it, and then they start comparing themselves to what the social media gives to them.
Any other insights before we move on? No? Yeah, wonderful. The next question I'd love to kind of throw out to y'all and get any insight you'd like to share is, if you were in charge, which would be amazing, what would you change about the world? And Georgia, we'll start with you, and then we'll hear from Ari and Kirsten.
So I was sharing with the girls how I saw this video that switched up the roles in just gender-wise, and so I think that what I would change is kind of, I think it would be fun to see changing the role between a man and a woman, and the woman being the one who's like the hard worker and the one who goes to work, brings the money into the household, and the man being the one who stays at home, takes care of the kids, so, you know, the stereotypical mom, and the one who like buys the groceries and does all that kind of like house cleaning. And so I think it'd be something interesting to see how the acts between a man and a woman can be changed, and how that'd be seen by society.
Yeah, so changing gender roles a little bit. That's a pretty amazing and big thing to tackle, and I support you in that, Georgia. What about Ari or Kirsten? If you could change anything about the world while you were in charge, what would you want to change?
I think the first thing that I would change is just making sure that healthcare is made universally affordable and available to everybody, and comprehensive healthcare that's really holistic and looks at everything that people need and includes, you know, psychological aid if that's what people need, or specific education if that's what people need. Because I think that a lot of the problems that we have can be sort of traced back to a lack of knowledge about public health. And I think that's particularly relevant when we look at some of the pandemics that are happening right now.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great kind of perspective. I appreciate that. And then Kirsten, you've been made president of the world. You can do anything you want. What would you really kind of want to change? What change would you want to see?
I would change the education opportunities in other countries, because like she said, like knowing about the health issues and stuff like that would really help this world be a better place.
Absolutely. I like that you took in a global perspective as well. I think that's pretty awesome. Yeah, just equitable access to education and quality education. And you said education about your bodies or your lives or health is pretty powerful. Wonderful. Well, I will elect all of you for any position that you run for in a nonpartisan way. So here's another great question that I think you'll have some great insight about as you are currently living girlhood. What do you wish every girl knew? If you could impart some piece of knowledge or wisdom to your peers or the girls who are even younger or older than you, what do you wish they knew? And I'd love to start with Ari and then hear from Kirsten and Georgia.
I think as women and girls, we're told that a lot of the bad things that happen to us are all our fault, and that there's a certain attitude that girls are supposed to sit down and be small and pretty and quiet. And then if girls stand up for themselves, or if girls express an interest in math or science or politics, there's a very negative societal flashback for them, even among their peer group. And so one of the things that I would like to kind of tell girls is it's okay to be loud, and it's okay to be proud of yourself, and it's okay to be interested in what you're interested in, because nobody ever gets mad at a boy for being decisive or being ambitious, but people still get mad at women. And I just think that that's an abhorrent double standard, and I would really love to get rid of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Georgia or Kirsten, what would you want to tell girls today?
So personally, as myself, I go to an all-girls school. So something I've learned from going to an all-girls school is that it is okay to be yourself. I know that a lot of girls don't know that, and they tend to want to be what people want them to be, or what they find is like the norms. But going to an all-girls school has kind of helped me develop that like wild side of me, like not wild in a bad way, but like wild as in like, you know, I'm not afraid to speak my mind. I'm not afraid to be myself. I'm not afraid to be different than others. And I think that's something girls really, really, really need to understand and accept, that we are all completely different. We are all beautiful in different ways. And, you know, it's cool to be, I think, you know, weird is the new cool, different is the new cool. So I think that's not something that girls need to understand, that if you are different, if you think differently, if you look different, you are so perfect that like there is nothing that can change that. So I would let girls know that it is okay to be yourself and that you are beautiful in all aspects that you can be beautiful in.
That's awesome. That's a pretty empowering message as well. Thank you for sharing that. And then Miss Kirsten, what would you want to share with girls?
I would say it's okay to be yourself, like they're basically saying, because like I said before, we tend to compare ourselves to others and think that it's not okay to be ourselves, but I think I would tell them it's okay to be yourselves.
Yeah. What do we think is so powerful about being ourselves? What's so, I guess, important about that, or powerful about being who we truly are?
I think it's powerful because we were all made to be different, because, you know, nobody was created to be the same as every single other person. Like us three completely are different, think differently, but together we make like this wonderful like rainbow. And so I think that, you know, it's like the colors of the rainbow. There's so many different colors that are put in different order, but together they make this like beautiful art piece. And so I think that it's just beautiful to be different, because when you are put together, it's like we're a puzzle piece. We're all different, but together the overall image is just beautiful. So I think that's what's powerful about being different.
Mm-hmm. Anything else y'all want to add? No, beautifully summed up. Before we go to our next question, I do just want to once again check in with our amazing live stream audience at home. Thank you once again for your support, and remind you that at the end of the set questions that we have that we'll all be discussing, we're going to be taking some live questions as well from the Twitterverse, is what we will refer to it as. So you can tweet at GENaustin, or you can use the hashtag GPN and throw some questions to the girls, because they will obviously have some pretty amazing and insightful responses that we would love to hear. The next question I'd really love to ask you all, we have three questions left before we can take it to the live audience. What is the value, in your opinion, of programs like GENaustin and the We Are Girls Conference? And Georgia, we'll throw it to you, and then we'll hear from Kirsten and Ari.
So like what Ari said, like when it comes to girls, people or like society tends to make us want to look at us like small or quiet, or, you know, like she said, be pretty, that's all you can do. And so I think that programs like GENaustin like have the whole label of like, no, that's wrong. And so I think these programs give an insight to girls, that for them to understand that there are people who care about them, and there are people that believe that investing in them is worth more than enough of their time. And so they dedicate their time to them fully, and that's their main goal, and their whole mission is just to dedicate this time to them. And so I think that this just motivates girls to understand that there are people out there who care, and there are people out there who are looking and seeking for their best, like their bettering. And so I think that GENaustin rocks. I give you a thumbs up, double thumbs up, because I know that personally I've seen so many girls that love GENaustin, and GENaustin is like their second home. And it's just amazing to see how a program like this can just change a girl's life in like 10 seconds.
That's awesome. Thank you. That means a lot to us. Ari or Kirsten, can you talk to a little bit about the value of programs like GENaustin or the We Are Girls Conference specifically?
Sure. So for me, GENaustin has really been important for kind of two reasons. One is that there are a lot of organizations that are kind of looking to empower and enfranchise young girls and women. But the thing is, a lot of those are not actually run by young girls and women, and they don't seem to really take our opinions into account. And in the media, a lot of the time you hear that young girls need saving, or young girls need somebody to teach them what's right and everything. And I don't really think that's true. And I think what I like about GENaustin is that our opinions are seen as very valid. They base what they need to do on what we think needs to happen, because really, I think that we do know what needs to happen because we're currently living it. And basically, I think that girls don't need someone to save them, because girls can save themselves. And the other thing that I think is important about GENaustin is that it sort of provides a female-only space. A lot of times, I know Georgia goes to an all-girls school, but I go to a co-ed school. And I feel like a lot of the time, because a part of this message where girls are taught to sit down and be quiet, when there are boys around, many girls don't necessarily feel safe or comfortable standing up and expressing their opinion or saying something that's happened to them or sharing a personal experience. And I think that in an all-girls space, which is not to say that every space should be an all-girls space, but I think it's important to have them available. Women can sort of bond over their shared experiences and find solutions together through this raising of consciousness.
That's wonderful. And then Kirsten, do you want to speak to the power of GENaustin or the We Are Girls conference?
I think the value of programs like GENaustin are that they teach girls that they're not alone in what they want to do, and that makes girls feel better about being themselves and standing up for themselves.
Absolutely. I like that idea of knowing that you're not alone, that people care about what you have to say, and that your voice is of value and it's of importance, and it's really, really an important insight to kind of take note of, can be really powerful and transformative. I will let you know that we're going to have Karen, who's our intern, kind of pull some questions from Twitter and get those ready for us. But I wanted to hop on to the next question, and I think this kind of loops around to a lot of what we've been discussing tonight. But what is something that you would want adults to know, whether it's about your experiences or about how they can better support girls, or about how they can really take the charge in being an advocate for the girls movement? What is something that you would want adults to know? And I'm going to throw this out to anybody. We'll all kind of share.
So one of the things that I hear about kind of our generation is that we're super politically unaware, or we're not very tuned in to kind of what's going on in the media or in the news or what's going on globally. And this is just my personal experience, but I feel that is completely untrue. And I feel like my generation, partially because of social media, has become so aware of these issues, and we're becoming more and more politically active and engaged. And a lot of us we all have different opinions, but we're all working to make ourselves heard, and we really all care a lot about the world and making it a better place. And so hearing so much about how our generation doesn't care about the world and is only interested in our smartphones is just something that I don't think is true, and I think that it's harmful to keep perpetuating.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that insight, Ari. Georgia or Kirsten, if you had like a megaphone and you could just speak to the adults of the world and they could heed what you were saying, what would you kind of want to share with them, or what would you want them to know about being a girl or the girls movement?
I know last time we got together, we discussed about how we're different and we're changing as time goes by. And so I think that's something really important for adults to understand, that our generation is completely different than their generation when they were teens. And so as girls, obviously putting aside the craziness that teens are going through, but as girls, like, we are like now in society, we are growing completely. We're strong. We've proven ourselves to be strong and independent, and we've changed the role. We've changed it, like they say, we've changed the whole role of how women are seen. And so I think it's necessary for adults to understand that when a girl wants to be independent and wants to like put herself out there, don't be the rock that's in her way when she wants to do it. Let her experience that. And if you're afraid that they will fail, or you're afraid that something wrong is going to happen and they're too sensitive or they'll get hurt, let them get hurt. Let them go through that. Let them know what it's like to go through that experience, because trust me, we will grow extremely from that. And I think just in general, we just need to accept that women are changing and we're becoming more powerful and independent, and it's better to just accept it than try to get in the way from that.
Awesome. And then Kirsten, I'm handing you a megaphone to talk to the adults of the world. What are you going to say?
I would say that guys can be just friends. Because, yeah, from my own experience, like, I just graduated middle school last year and I'm a freshman. So I go back to my middle school a lot, and like most of my friends there are guys. And like when I'm hanging around them, my dad is like, "Why are you hanging around with like all these guys? Like, they're just friends."
Yeah. Like men, we can equally have friends. Guys can have a lot of girlfriends. Why can't we as girls have guy friends? Yeah, it's healthy.
It is. There doesn't have to be an expectation that everything is a romantic relationship.
Yes.
Yeah, you find value in all kinds of friendships.
I second that.
Note taken. Right, as an adult, as an almost adult, I'll write that down. Karen, if you'll get a couple questions for us ready, but this is the last question that I really want to put out to you all, and that I'm so excited for our audience to hear. And thank you again for participating and really being engaged in this discussion. I'm sure that you, just like myself, have learned so much from these amazing young leaders and the insight they share. And it's just nice to be able to hear from your perspective, kind of what you're going through and what matters to you, what you care about, what you're thinking about. But my last question for you all before we get to our beautiful Twitter questions is, what would you tell someone who's considering donating a scholarship to send a girl to the We Are Girls conference, but they're not necessarily sure if they should? What would you tell them? And whoever wants to start with that, what would you say to those folks who are considering donating a scholarship and aren't sure if they should?
I would say that this investment, I see this like donation as an investment, because I believe that whenever you give, it's not necessarily that you're giving the money, but you're giving the opportunity for this girl, this random girl. You don't know who she is or where she comes from, but you just know that there is that single, like a 100 chance that this girl will be completely affected and her world will completely be changed because of your donation. And you never know who this girl, what kind of change this girl will experience, but you know that this like probability of being able to affect a girl this big is just like a chance that it's worth taking. And I think that, like always, girls are a great investment for the future of tomorrow. And so I think that just in general, you never know whose girl, like whose girls, like what girl's world you're gonna spark a change in. And I think that spark is worth the chance.
I love that. Yeah. Wonderful. And then Arya or Kirsten, kind of what would you tell somebody who's thinking about maybe donating to the scholarship campaign but isn't sure if they should?
So girls get a lot of time being told by society and by the media and by people in their lives that they're not important and that what they have to say doesn't matter. And then you come to this conference for a day and you're told the exact opposite, that what you have to say does matter. And just being involved with Gen is a very empowering experience, and it can be a very life-changing experience. And so I think that however much the money is definitely worth it to spark that kind of change in someone, because that can be enough to counteract all those years of negative media experience and just create somebody who is empowered and confident in themselves and ready to make the world better, basically.
Awesome. Wonderful. And then Ms. Kirsten, what would you tell somebody who's thinking about it?
I liked what Ari said about it could change a girl's life, and it would like show her that even though she's been like not confident about herself for all these years, once she comes here, she'll be confident. And maybe she's going through a hard time, she'll know how to feel better about herself, and it will really help her.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of just that having that space where it's supportive, it's safe, it's inclusive. If you're going through a rough time, you can find the support and maybe even, coping tools so that you can deal with the stress that you might be feeling, or you can maybe just even make some really great friendships and have a community for a day that could even extend beyond the day. That's wonderful. Well, I would love to hop over to some of our great Twitter questions, and thank you all for sharing those with us. So our first Twitter question is, what is your hope for girls in the future?
My hope is that in our school has leadership in our school's name. And so I think that that's something girls need to understand, that men aren't the ones who, like, it's not written for men to be the only ones who like dominate leadership positions. And so I think that I want girls to understand, and for girls to look at themselves as someone who's like someone who has the opportunity and someone who's capable of being a leader. And I think that can be either at school, in your community, in the world, being the next, like the first woman president. And so I just think that girls need to understand that they are the future of tomorrow, and the future is in their hands. And so I think that if they want to see a change, they are the ones who have the capability of creating that change. And so I hope that girls understand that we are as equal, maybe been better than men. And so I think it's just meant for us to just like a star, like just shoot up there.
Yeah. That's a great, anybody can be a leader, and you can make a change, whether it's in your school or your community or on a global scale. that should be an opportunity that's accessible to everyone, and everybody should feel confident in becoming a leader. I think that's beautiful. Kirsten or Ari, what is your hope for girls in the future?
I have a lot of hopes for girls in the future.
Don't we all?
one of the things I'd really like to see is she was talking about leadership and positions of power, and I really think that that's so important because so few CEO spots and spots in government are held by women, and I think that's partially why we have so many issues right now, is because there are people who are not women who are making decisions for women, and so I would really like to see a 50-50 split in basically every field and every position of power where it's half men and half women, so that we have a more balanced discussion. And then there's so many things that I think it would be so great for girls to be able to do. I think it would be girls could go out at night without being afraid to them. I think it would be great if girls could have friends from all different areas and of all different genders without feeling weird about that or facing societal pressure from their parents. And I think that it would be good if girls could choose to express themselves in any way that they choose to without being told by the media that how they have chosen to dress or how they've chosen to present themselves is wrong or incorrect.
Yeah, that is ditto to all of those. And Ms. Kirsten, I'd love to hear from you. What is your hope for girls of the future?
Well, my hope for girls in the future would, like they were talking about leadership, I hope that girls stand up more and just be more involved, maybe even like she said about being in government and the CEO. I really hope that more girls take those positions.
Absolutely. I like the picture that you all are painting. I want to live in this world. And then this is our last question for the night before we do a quick wrap up. I'll throw this to you first, Kirsten, and then we'll just go down the line if that's okay with y'all. And I think this is a great note to end on because it is positive and there's so much power in this question. And that is, what is your favorite part about being a girl? What is your favorite thing about being a girl?
My favorite thing about being a girl is being able to surprise someone, because they put labels on girls that girls can't do this and girls can't do that. But like, if I do something they say I can't, it really surprises people sometimes. So yeah, that's my favorite thing.
So my favorite thing about being a girl is something that I actually feel like probably comes from a negative thing. But so I feel like girls have, all girls and women, no matter what their situation is, have a certain core of shared experiences over being women. And so even though a lot of those experiences are negative, like being catcalled or being harassed somewhere in your environment, it means that you have this incredible global community of, 3.5 billion people or whatever, who, even though you might not like all of those people or you might not agree with all of those people, you're all, in many respects, you're all united and you form a community with people. And that's what I think is so important. Sounds so cheesy, but like the sisterhood that comes with being a girl is something that I think is very powerful, and it gets sort of overlooked sometimes.
Going off of sisterhood, the thing that I love about being a girl is that I am me. Like, I know it's kind of hard for a lot of girls because that's not the case for them, but hopefully that changes. But personally, I love being myself. I love being that weird girl that people point at because I'm that weird. Like, they'll laugh at me for being weird, or the people that's like unique, and the person that's unique and different and that's not afraid of expressing themselves like that. I love that as a girl. You can be that, and other girls won't disapprove of that. They'll just be like, you're cool, you're my friend. So I think it's like, I just love being able to be myself, and that sisterhood being like my backbone of why I am myself.
That's awesome. I have to thank you all so much. You were so insightful and so kind and so generous with your experiences and your thoughts and your time. They all like rushed after school to get here. We've got like a trumpeter and somebody just finished a play and somebody who's like three tests something this week. So we have a busy and engaged group of young leaders, as you can see. But I just wanted to thank you all for tuning in as well. As you know, this is such an important kind of opportunity for girls, and such an important opportunity, I think, for our community to really come together and to contribute to creating this space on November 15th for girls of all backgrounds, 3 through 12. And I would definitely ask all of you to please consider contributing to our scholarship fund. As you mentioned, or as these lovely young leaders mentioned, it can spark a change in someone's life, and it can really be transformative to give girls the opportunity to feel heard and cared about and validated, and to have this like sisterhood and shared experience. So I would encourage each of you to please feel free and go to our scholarship campaign, and please donate to Scholarship A Girl or 100 Girls or whatever you feel called and are able to do. But I want to thank you all so much. We hope to see you November 15th at Austin High School for the 7th annual We Are Girls Conference. Please consider making a scholarship donation and have an amazing night. And we'll do like the wave goodbye. Thank you all. Yay. Bye everyone.
Thumbs up for y'all.